So let's get stuck into this Premiership run-in, round 15. I'm going to focus on a couple of games, and I had to start with the East Midlands derby, Northampton versus Leicester, 40 points to 17. A really interesting game because Leicester came up with a game plan to stop Northampton playing, and it worked really well for the first half, and then the class came through. So really revealing, I think, this game. And Northampton did rest a few players, did rotate a few players from their Champions Cup heroics. We had Finn Smith, Tommy Freeman on the bench as well, and when they came on, they really showed why they are starters, although Leicester were tiring a bit by then. But basically what Leicester said is, let's get into these boys, let's stop them playing. That real snarl from the Tigers, that vicious counter-ruck, really impressive from Leicester. They've got Finn Carnduff starting at 6. He's the under-20s captain for England. And he's kind of a second row /6 as well, similar to Chesham. They've got Wells there, so they kind of got 3 second rows. George Martin, another second row /6. So Leicester churned these guys out hard as nails. He was impressive in that first half. And there were a few signs of Saints getting into their flowing attack, but Tigers doing such a good job of making a big mess of the rucks, of those counter rucks, means that Northampton just can't get into it. Cater's really impressive in this first half, although he makes a bit of a boo-boo in the second. We'll come to that. He's a beast. He's kind of as tall as he is wide. Really difficult to move when he's over the ball and really difficult to stop when he gets going. But the lack of quality in the back three for Leicester was definitely stark in this match. We had Shilcock playing in the back three, and he's kind of a fly half who can play elsewhere. Stewart's not the most natural attacker, and 2 really bad 2-on-1s. They muck up together. After 25 minutes, they were 3-10 up, looking more hungry with the Tigers. Northampton looking a bit low on energy. It was kind of worrying in that first half because Leicester clearly know that the quality is in that Saints backline and they are stopping them doing it. And also, they're just standing off. They know they want to spread the ball. They're not overcommitting. They're conceding a bit of ground, but it's stopping Saints getting into their flow. On 28 minutes, finally Saints get into some fast attacking ruck ball, and it's Mitchell who makes the difference. Leicester are lining them up quite nicely, but Mitchell makes some snipes. 2 snipes in a row. First one puts Augustus through. The second one sees him nip over the line, and the ball may well have touched the ground, but when the ref gives no try to start with, the TMO in his hard place to see the ball on the ground, so no try given. Maybe it brushed the ground, maybe it didn't, but signs of Northampton's quality attack and Mitchell making the difference. Kicking wise, when you compared the 2 scrum halves, we had Van Poortvliet and Mitchell. You'd probably say Van Poortvliet has the better kick, but Mitchell with his sniping, getting players in and around him, is better, that is for sure. So interesting when you talk about internationals as well. But yeah, on half an hour, just making a note that the beastie tackling from Leicester is impressive. They've studied that Northampton attack. They're not being fooled by the shapes. Mitchell, yes, making a little bit of a difference. Litchfield getting on the end of an offload for Mitchell this time, but only a penalty, not a try. So still behind 6-10. Ludlam and Langdon start to get going a little bit towards the end of that first half, starting to pop and make some yards, getting some offloads. But Litchfield fumbles a really bad try-scoring offload, so that was a bit of an error. So it finishes on 6-10. Leicester working like absolute dogs with serious energy. But in the second half, straight away you can see that energy has just dipped a bit. Northampton know they need to pick it up, and Leicester just can't keep it going, basically. I think that is the big difference, and then the quality comes through in that second half. Yeah, looking pretty knackered at Leicester. On 42 minutes, a lumbering cracknell means Wells has to step in, then Stewart has to step in. So Ram gives the offload to Langdon, who shows world-class hooker pace. And I mean that. Langdon simply has to play for England this summer. You know, shades of the Dan Sheehan's about him. That was a great try, which puts Northampton in the lead for the first time, 11-10. And Leicester just aren't putting that ruck pressure on, and straight away you can see Saints getting into that flow that we saw in the Champions Cup, and it's too much. Shilcock, who had a pretty poor game to be honest, and Hassel-Collins on the other wing showed some lacks of quality at times as well, so back three definitely a problem area there, and Shilcock with a deliberate knock-on, pretty obvious stuff. Now, should he have just let the try in maybe, but it's a yellow and a penalty try, so 18-10. And that's pretty killer. But the Tigers do not give up. They did not give up all game. They've got great attitude, just lacking in quality. And they get a try on 56 minutes to get them right back into this derby. Fantastic line-out play from Chesham. They go to the back, Brilliant athletic ability from Chesham. It's probably his best quality as a second row. Takes the ball one-handed and still, carries out the move, which is a back peel to Jasper Wiese, who is just a rhino on the charge. Poor old George Furbank literally crumbles as he crashes through him. It's pretty tough to stop him, but he just smashes through him. And if you go all the way back, it's Montoya who actually leads the counter-ruck, and they get a counter-ruck, and it leads to that try. So there's only 1 point in it. So this is a big moment. We see Alex Waller go off, maybe his last home start, and a good game for him because Northampton maybe had the edge in the scrum. But anyway, this is the big moment. 1 point in it. And what happens? Well, the Tigers, they implode, I'm afraid. It's a nasty kick out on the full from Andre Pollard to start with, which kills that momentum they had from the try. And then Cater goes flying in like a bull in a china shop, no control, bolt upright. It's a red card as it catches Dingwall in the head. I mean, he's quite short anyway, Cater, but makes no attempt to dip at all. We've talked about players not dipping and not being in control as well. It's a recipe for disaster, so red card. He knows it as he lost the derby, and I think, yes, that is the time where that derby was lost, just when they got back into it. Kills them completely, so 40 men for the rest of the half, and also Northampton are getting into their stride. It's a terrible recipe, a recipe for disaster. Saints capitalise immediately with a maul, really good maul actually. And Leicester still had good phases. It's not like they didn't have possession in this game, but they're hard, they're straight. Northampton's backs are up, they're tackling well, they've got the extra player, obviously, and the class just oozes when the ball gets turned over. The normal starters, Finn Smith and Tommy Freeman, are on, and they show why they are starters. And Furbank goes to 15. He's so much better at 15 than 10. He's a decent 10, but Smith is absolute quality. Furbank injects the pace from 15, and it makes the try. And it's a Finn Smith half break and flick offload to Freeman, who accelerates so smoothly. 2-1 to Hendy. Class try, 32-17. The game is gone, to be honest. They're being outclassed, and again, hard straight phases from the Tigers, but then the turnover again on 72 minutes, and the backs are off. Furbank at fullback and Freeman key, 37-17. Then on 78 minutes, the icing on the cake, a lovely drop goal from Finn Smith, but pretty weird in the build-up because Mike Brown actually breaks out of his 22 and seemingly inexplicably passes to Finn Smith. But I'm pretty sure that Finn Smith called for the ball, pretending to be a Leicester player, which actually you're not allowed to do by the laws. It is actually unsportsmanlike conduct, but we've all done it, and he actually gets the benefits of the drop goal. So a bit of a cheeky one, but they finish 40 points to 17. So it just shows that Northampton, when they get going in their flow, they are fantastic. They are absolute box office. The Tigers, they are hard, they are solid. They're a good, honest team, but they don't have that quality in the backs especially. They're a little bit lumbery in the forwards, although they are honest and hard-working. So I like the Tigers like that, but to watch Northampton are class. They're the ones playing all the great rugby. Can't wait to see more of Northampton on the pitch. They show they are the better team, and surely they have a playoff place if they hadn't before anyway, and surely Leicester aren't good enough to get one. Let me know what you think of that derby down below. I'll be back with more Premiership roundup. Love to know what you think, and I'll catch you next time.